Hello everybody, I hope you're having a fabulous day. Today we are going to be working on building out Newcrest again. This is a small, it actually ends up being a 3-bedroom house, kind of very traditional style. Yeah, it has a master bedroom on the first floor, and then it kind of has like a little almost attic-y area, but not quite, a small upstairs area. It's very compact. So, yeah. I got the idea for this. I saw a design very similar to this on Pinterest. Once again, Pinterest is my go-to for pretty much most of my inspiration for Sims, at least, yeah, and then from there, sometimes I'll get ideas, but I really liked the roofing on this one, and one of the things I've recently been trying to improve, it has been my roofing. Like, it's been okay, but it could be better, and I think the issue is I'm not sure how to make it better, and roofing and I have a complicated relationship. My problem is I guess one of the things I really miss from Sims 3 is having the ability to do like round roofs and things like that, because you can't do that in The Sims 4, and it really throws off a lot of things that I try to do, and it honestly makes roofing a little bit more challenging. And yet, I don't know why. Roofing is just kind of a challenge for me, and I just struggle doing it. And so, especially like traditional builds that are more than like 2 roof pieces. And this one has like 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. It has 5 or 6 pieces. And so, that's one of those it's a personal goal that I have been trying to work on. Yeah, just doing more with roofs and just getting things to work out better. So, I definitely wanted to include, it had like 2 porches, one in the front, a big one in the front, and then a smaller one in the back. I've kind of been into these house builds that have the, doorway kind of not really tucked away, but it's not like right there. You kind of have to go up a little ways, and it's to the left, or you kind of go around a cove or an alcove or something like that. It's not like, it's obvious, but it's not like right there. You have to walk a little bit farther, and I've really been into that recently. I really like it. So, and this house has something I haven't done for a while. It has a little foyer that serves absolutely no purpose, except for a room divider. And I like foyers. My own house has a foyer, and it's very common in like traditional style homes, things like that. But it's not a thing that a lot of people really include in builds, at least from what I've seen. Like, there'll be like a kind of foyery area, but it won't be super enclosed. And this one is very enclosed. It has 2 archways and everything, and then the main front doorway. So, but it's very closed off. And a lot of foyers, especially like modern style housing, it's very open. Obviously, one of the styles of modern housing is that everything's very open, very see-through. You know, all the rooms kind of blend together, especially like main floor buildings. So, one of the things, since this isn't a modern house, I really tried to not put emphasis on it, but just make it more compact, more like hallway-esque. Because looking back at like recent builds and everything, I don't really do a lot of stuff with like hallways and like small spaces. I do like things to kind of have an open-esque feel. Like, I like to have like the dining room and the kitchen be all in one room, and it might feed over into the living room and like a study room, and it's all kind of one space, maybe with an archway, but that's about it. This one, though, is completely different. Every room is separate. So you end up with a much more compact and more tight spacing, but at the same time, it all really works. Okay, so here we have, I was really struggling to figure out what, like, floor to put outside, and this seems to be a very common issue that I have. I don't know what floors to put outside. Now, if you guys have any recommendations, please feel free to write in the comments, because honestly, like, sometimes I don't know what to put in the middle. Like, do I put wood? Do I put stone? Do I put concrete? What exactly am I doing down there? I'm not quite sure. So But anyway, the issue still remains. If you have any suggestions about what type of flooring to use outside, yeah, I would love to know. And this build, I remembered how to change the direction of floor tiles, because guess who's an idiot, and guess who forgot that you can place floor tiles one by one. It's just, my thing is, I just kind of default to filling the whole room with one floor tile. And if I don't do that, if I do place them in, it's almost always in a square box form. And so, like, my brain had just completely forgotten how to, like, rotate stuff, and it hadn't been too much of an issue. There's been a couple times where I was like, oh, I maybe should rotate the direction of those floorboards, but it's like, it's not that big a deal. But this one, there was, like, a definite, I think it was mostly outside on the porch area, because I decided to go with a wood texture. It was like, okay, no, I've got to change the direction of this. It's not working. And so I had to Google it because I'm a moron and I couldn't remember how to do anything. And then it was like, oh, this is how you do this. So floorboards were a thing this time. And then I was like, okay, let's continue this on upstairs and everything. Because one of the things is when you have a square rectangle room, most of the time you just don't really think about the floorboards. But when you start dealing with odd shaped rooms and then you have wood floors, suddenly everything is just kind of, it doesn't work as well, it doesn't flow. And so it was like, oh yeah, I need to focus on this. Okay, now the exterior of the house. You might be thinking, Sarah, what are you thinking? What in the world are you thinking? This house is yellow. And yes, I know that. And you're asking, I can just hear you now. Why did you go with a yellow house, Sarah? Well, first of all, in case you didn't notice, the title of the build, Mellow Yellow. No, honestly, what happened was, I wanted to use regular siding and everything because I felt like it was a very traditional style build. It needed regular siding. It didn't need a lot of extra stuff. I did do, like, detailing, like, with the columns and everything, but that was about it. But the thing is, my house is actually very similar to this color. It's one of those house colors that you look at it and you think, oh, it's white. But if you look at it in the right sunlight, it's actually yellow. And I don't know why my parents went with a yellow house. I personally don't care for it. But most of the time it looks white, so I can live with it. But it's just, and it's only in like certain lights. Most of the time it looks white, and it's really only if you actually look at it that it's like, oh, that's not quite white. And it's just so I decided to kind of incorporate this into this build because I thought, well, I don't want to use white, and I didn't feel like a dark color would fit this house, and I didn't want to go with like pink or really bright color. So it became yellow. So that's Mellow Yellow House Build. That's where I got the name, in case you didn't know. Because there's literally probably nothing else yellow about this house. It's not like yellow house. It's not, well, it is a yellow house, but the interior is not like super yellow or anything like that. It was just lack of creativity. And let's see. Here, I decided to go very simple with the kitchen and dining room. It ended up being a massive kitchen. Like, for the size of the house, this kitchen is huge. And so I was kind of trying to decide what I did and didn't want to put in there. Because while it has a lot of space, it's kind of weird shaped slightly. And I wanted to put more details in through with the cabinets and everything. Because, like, cabinets are a big thing in traditional style housing, and it was like, okay, I want to put housing in this house because that makes sense. Yay! No, I wanted to put cabinets, and a lot of times I think of the cabinets as like an afterthought, especially that really tall floor to ceiling cabinet. I know it exists, but I forget about it, and then like later I'll be like, oh, I could have done that. Duh. And so I decided to make this house. It has a little radiator thing. I put that in there just because I felt like it needed something to give it a little bit more like an older style house. This isn't like brand new off the market. It's kind of been used a little bit. And so down here you have the bathroom that's off of the master bedroom, or in theory the master bedroom. Technically you could make any of them the master bedroom. And I toyed with trying to put a shower in here, but in the end, it just really wasn't working, and I didn't want to not put a sink in here. So it ends up just kind of being a half bath into the story. It has your sink and toilet, and that's about it. And so then this is a very simple room. I didn't want to put too many details, and not because it's an odd shape, but it just, I really wasn't. I wanted to make sure it had dresser and space to walk and everything, and that's kind of what ended up happening. And I decided to go with a kind of old-timey feel, and I ended up going with the gray, and I actually really like it. I ended up using, I don't know if I used the same color or similar color upstairs, because it really worked well, and I liked the color of the bed sheets. Normally, that's how I kind of style bedrooms. I pick the bed that I like the sheets the best for what I'm kind of feeling for that house, and then the rest of the furniture kind of ends up going with the bedposts and everything. It's one of those things, I wish that you could change the color of the bedposts and the sheets separately, because otherwise you're like stuck with that color. And like, I wish that I had sentences, Sarah. I wish that I'd been able to do like a white bedpost, maybe with a little bit of color, black, something besides the brownish taupey gray color. I do like it though. I do like it a lot. I was really surprised. But it's one of those things that if you don't match that color, it's very obvious. And there's only like one item in each category that matches that color exactly. And it's like, ugh. And it's that dresser that kind of looks old and beaten up. And it's like, why this one? And the thing is, back on the topic of that cabinet, and it also has a TV stand. It's like a whole set. It's a great set. It's beautiful, except it has all these scuff marks. And it's like, why did they have to do that? It was a great, like, if it didn't have all these, I don't know what to call it, bruises almost, like cuts and just kind of other discolorations and things, it'd be great. So, okay, moving on. So now I'm working on the, it turns into a teen bedroom. It could also be like a child's bedroom, very easily swapped out for a toddler bedroom. But I felt like since I had made space for 3 bedrooms, one of them should be a younger audience, I guess, younger sim build. And so I was going to just put one chair in there, but then I realized this is actually a fairly big space, and I didn't want it to just be toys. Like, I wanted it to be cluttered, but not, like, super cluttered, because I have a tendency to kind of do that with kids' rooms, because it's like, there's so many things to put in there. I have to put everything. And it's like, Sarah, calm down, control. You don't have to put everything. And so I did decide, though, to kind of play around with the direction / layout. Layout is the word I'm looking for. With the layout of, like, with the beds and putting the desk in, because I really like that small desk, and it ends up working well. I kind of wish that the beds were like identical, but at the same time, if I was sharing a room with a sibling, I would not want my bed to be like, in the middle of the night, wake up, look over, there's the sibling. No, thank you. I'd want a little bit of space. And so I actually really kind of like how it turned out. And so just putting some curtains and things like that, finishing touches, really tried to make it like kidsy, but not like super, super childish. And I tried to make it kind of not gender specific. Like, you could use this for a male or a female sim. I know it is a lot of blue, but I didn't build the room in mind with it being for a boy sim. It was just kind of universal, so that's kind of what that's for. And then up here you have a very outdated, I guess, is kind of what I was going for, with especially with the wallpaper and everything, outdated bathroom. The appliances and everything are pretty nice, but I wanted to go kind of with that outdated rose wallpaper, and like, it was very common in like the 90s and things like that, and unless you've redecorated, you probably still have these in your house if your house is built in the 80s and 90s, and aka I still do. And then up here we have the 3rd bedroom, and I kind of, it's honestly just like another guest bedroom. You could easily turn it into the master bedroom, and have the master bedroom that's down there be something else. It's a very kind of young adult vibe, or maybe a teenager, something like that. But I don't know if it's my favorite room, but I do like it a lot. And so here I am again using that grayish color because for some reason I really liked it, and everything in this room ended up being very gray. So I don't really know why. It just kind of, it's sometimes certain colors just kind of work, and it was like, okay, I have yellow. For some reason I went with yellow striped wallpaper, and so gray seemed to work with that. And so I was trying to decide what to put on the wall, and like I really like this pastel kind of, it's not neutral, but it's a calmer shade than some of the other paintings, and it's large. I liked the large size, but I wasn't really feeling it. And so then after kind of going through some of the items, I found it's the light fixture that has all the wirings and everything. I'm pretty sure it's from City Living, but I really like that piece. I'll put it in a little bit, but for some reason I forget that it exists until like I'm doing finishing lighting pieces, and then it's like, oh, I could put this. But that piece is almost, yeah, here it is. That piece is almost an art piece, much less than it is like a light fixture. But I went around and tried to do some different lighting, things like that, not rely just on that the single skylight. A lot of times I have been leaving like the regular light in and using the decorative one underneath, because a lot of times those other lights don't give off enough light. So it just works out really well for like everyone. And so here I was kind of going around and finding all the empty walls that I had, and I really was not feeling that inspired, I'll be honest. I was kind of struggling finding pieces to put on the walls, and I felt like a lot of the wall decorations had been like overused, and that I really wasn't feeling it, and I don't know why, but I feel like there's a gap that the Sims are missing. Like, they have very modern stuff, and then they have, like, super traditional. And it just needs to be, like, there needs to be, like, this contemporary items that aren't, like, super dated, but they're not, like, super new. Like, stuff from, like, the 2000s. There seems to be a lot of stuff from, like, I almost want to say, like, the current decade, and then a lot of stuff from, like, old decades. But there's not really anything from like late 90s to like early 2000s. And I feel like that's kind of what the game is missing. And so because I couldn't really find anything that I really wanted, I kind of struggled just figuring out what I wanted to do with life. And everything. But I did remember to put lights on the outside. Those small little lights actually worked really well, and they're really subtle, because some of the outdoor lights are really like in your face, massive. It's like 3 times the size of your Sim's head. And it's like, okay, yes, true to life, because honestly, it was after another build that I had done, and I was like, okay, I have 2 of these outside my front porch. How realistic is that? And honestly, those lights are massive. You don't really think about it until your face is like right up next to it, but they fit like 2 people heads, sometimes 3, and it's like, okay, it's true to life, but it needs to be smaller. It's a little obnoxious in The Sims. And so those little lights ended up working perfectly. And so then what I did was I went around and just kind of did some like light gardening, a little bit of terrain stuff, plant life. I had this little cove area kind of in here, and I really wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do with it, so I kind of stuck some flowers in there and kind of made it a little bird sanctuary, if you will. I put a little like birdhouse and a bird feeder and things like that, and I did not forget to move the mailbox, and I put a bin. Now, after looking back, I did realize I forgot an indoor bin, but I did put a dishwasher, and there's lots of sinks. I just didn't put a trash can. I don't know why. But there's an outdoor bin, so I sort of got it covered. And so then I was like, here I am just kind of trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do over here. I really wasn't too sure what I wanted to do in the backyard area, because I didn't really want to put a fence, but I didn't want to put like a lot of big stuff. I was kind of struggling, and over here I was kind of like, well, if I kind of play around, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so in the end, I end up going with a pool and kind of this like little eat area, because I like, it's like suburban living and everything. So it's a nice backyard, but at the same time, it was like, I didn't really know what to put, and so I kind of just sat there and struggled for a little bit. But I eventually figured it out, and I do like how it turns out. It's a nice backyard. I would want this as my backyard. Yeah, it ends up working out really nicely. I didn't include like the patio area all the way around because I thought it was just a little obnoxious and a little too close to the edge. And I didn't put a fence because I felt like it was just cutting into too many things. And I didn't want to overcrowd the area with like greenery and other things like that. So just putting a few like last minute decorations, little bit of lighting, and then like finishing up with some terrain paint. And honestly, it all came together really nicely. When I kind of had the idea, it was like, okay, I could see how this would work, but I do really like how this house turned out. And so now we're getting into the screenshots. And like always, this house is available to download on the gallery, like all of my builds are. And yeah, this house, I really like how it turned out. It's simple, yet it has a lot of little details, yet it's not like over cluttered. Because, you know, sometimes when you build houses, it's very easy to like over clutter them. And I like how it turned out. And so don't forget, you can follow me on other social media. Links are down below in the description. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I upload videos at least 3 times a week. But for July, which it is the current month, I'm kind of doing it, not anti-Christmas, but like a Christmas in July kind of thing. I'm uploading a video every day in July, just because a lot of people were doing, in last Christmas anyway, were doing videos every day, in December. But my problem is my Christmas time and December is very busy. Like, I am doing so many things and it's too much for me to do. So I thought, okay, well, on something, I'm just gonna do a video every day in July. It's fine. A lot of people are off school, more people to watch. There we go. Solution found. So anyway, I hope you guys like this build. It was a lot of fun for me to do. Definitely more builds coming up, and I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.